April 30th is the day that I could not ever forget.
My rank was warrant officer for the regional force in South Vietnam. After they overcome South Vietnam, they put it on the newspaper that all of the officers must report to them, and then they put us in the concentration labor camp.
The longer you connect with South Vietnam military, they come over that, take your property.
For me, if they catch me, then I will done, you done, yeah. And maybe hard labor for all my life.
What I saw at the fall of Saigon was just appalling. It was tragic as our forces pulled out of Vietnam.
After I came home from Vietnam, I saw that we had a partnership with the Vietnamese people. I'm absolutely thrilled when I see Vietnamese who have come to our country and done well.
I remember a beautiful childhood, growing up in a big family, living in one house with extended family under my grandmother's and my grandfather's roof. I have an aunt who I love dearly. She was my favorite and I was her favorite. Many of us tried countless times to flee the country. My 3 aunts escaped and they ended up in Germany. But their journey was another whole story. Their boat got into a big storm, and at the time there was a German company at sea. But because they were in Vietnam water, they could not rescue this little boat who was about to shatter. So they had to wait for the boat to really break, and the people were swimming in the water before they can rescue legally. My favorite aunt, Cô Sáu, the number 6 aunt, we call it all by number, was the swimmer. She was a good swimmer. She helped my aunt and my cousins. Most practically they passed out. And when they woke up, they couldn't find my 6th aunt. Didn't know what happened to her, but all they remember, they were helped by her. So we lost her at sea. And, I remember her face. That was sad.
My father was serving for Marines. First time I saw the Americans come to my home, have dinner with my father. Sometimes they 4 or 5 have dinner together. Then they drink, good time. And I remember all the time when I saw them, then we running because every single time they come, they bring something like gum or some kind of candy. That's what they bring to us. I remember the one of them really tall, and always he picked me up, and I call him Uncle Hai.
The military force who took over Saigon, they asked all of these NCO and soldiers to go for a 3-day training. And we report to them, but we never come back. We had to work 10 hours a day, 6 days a week in re-education camp. The term re-education camps is an abusing term. The proper term for that should be concentration labor camp. The communist regime tried to use that for political reasons to tell the free country leaders that we are bad and they need to re-educate us to be a good citizen. They feed us the corn for animal. So different corn, not corn for people to eat. If we did not get that work done, they say, oh, you did a bad thing and I will lock you up in the panic container. And everything there, you pee, you poo in there. They try to kill us slowly, slowly, slowly.
Every single time we step our foot on a boat to try to escape the country, of course we always had hope that you survive. You had a 50-50 chance.
My wife's family is Chinese, and they can go because their name on the birth certificate is Chinese. Someone in my mom's family, they working in the government, so I have all the paper. I mean, birth certificate, everything, like Chinese. I tried like 4 or 5 times, couldn't make it. Because too crowded, people, they pushing you out because you don't have money to pay for them. I tell my wife, if something happens, just go on. In the first 3 days, it's a storm. We get lost in the ocean. We don't want to go to Thailand because of Thai pirates.
Many of us try to escape. Very few people succeeded. And then I've learned that they willing to accept some bribe of money to visit my parents in the area nearby the seashore so I can plan to escape. I was just lucky to meet one of my soldiers under my wings before, and he planned to escape and he let me go with his family. My wife told me that we escape together, we live together, we die together. I said, if we get caught and then we stuck, so let me escape first and then I plan for you to escape. I was so scared. The pirates boat came and then they took away all the food and they left with us with nothing. And we had to try to survive. After the pirate, we got some water inside the boat. We had to get the water out. All the men, we take turn and we exhausted. We all lay down like dead body. And luckily at that time, the American ship showed up. One among of the sailors took the picture of the boat. I think that required by law that they had to take the picture to confirm that we're in a dangerous situation before they can rescue us. That's why I got a picture now.
Finally, this one faithful trip, we got on the boat, a wooden boat about 45 feet long. I don't know how many people were on board on that ship, probably close to 200. And just as we passed through the little canal and the police were asking questions, the little baby cried. And I heard gunshots, boom, boom, boom. And before I knew it, the woman who was sitting next to my uncle, and I was beside my uncle, her head fell on his shoulder, and she was shot. So the people on board decided to throw the body of the woman overboard and have a water burial because we couldn't carry her. So we had that little ceremony, people pray for her. And then that night, the storm came, and the storm was horrendous. It threw our boat up and down. The waves were so high. People got so sick, people throwing up. I remember vividly in my mind the odor from the vomit and the smell from the leaked gasoline mixed together. It made you so sick, made me so sick in my stomach, and I could not get that smell out of my head, even though it's been 35 years. So then the captain broke the news to us that we couldn't go any further because the engine failed. We were still in Vietnam, we didn't go too far. And at that point he said he saw an island. Should we go toward that island? Well, we had no choice. We were greeted there by the Vietnam Coast Guard. So we surrendered. We were all put in jail.
In the morning, like so dark outside, so cold and raining. We see the Coast Guard ship. So they say, where you want to go? We just say, Indonesia, Malaysia, whatever. And they say, we will follow you about a few hours. Then when you see the light, you go straight to the light. My mom, very smart lady. Your father take a picture with American, so you keep it. You never know, maybe something will help. One officer interviewed my family, and then they say, why you want to come to the United States? I say, because I played with American soldier when I was young. He said, did you have anything to prove? I say, I have the black and white picture with American. Then he said, you know some of them in here? I say, yeah, him. And he said, don't say anything, don't tell anyone. Then he wrapped all the paperwork, everything. He said, he turned around, he said, sign here. I said, I signed. Many years later, then I read about the book history, then, oh my God, that's Uncle Hyde. Then I see in a picture, that's Alexander Haig. How funny.
We had to try one more time. And I said, let's go, Dad. I mean, there wasn't anything here for us. As we got out to the open sea, there was a school of dolphins that was leading us along the way. It was very joyful to see them. When I woke up in the morning, I thought I was in a dream. I remember my dad said, let's celebrate. And at that point, I knew that I had a second chance at life. My uncles left before us, and they ended up in Canada. And we had another group of the girls of the family. We arrived in Canada October of 1982. Did not speak any English. Arrived in this snowy country. And then our sponsor, they inspired our family to really focus in education. I was married at 21. I've met my husband in Canada, and it was, I guess, love at first sight. And I just packed up and went with him and moved to the States.
In our country, the work, I saw so many, some people dead and some people gia đình ly tán, giống như
Broken family.
Broken family. So I'm very concerned about that.
I create the coding letter with the different characters to interpret in Vietnamese language, so my wife can understand. In Vietnamese, we have 5 different strokes, and when I sent her my special letter, I mixed them up. Any Vietnamese read that letter, they will not understand what we are talking about, but only 2 of us understand. And then she know how to contact me by mail, of course, that she planned to go on what date and the number of the boat. My honey puppy, the days is very long and I miss you very, very much. I promise myself that I will fighting by all means to be reunited with me. And tonight, I save all my thought to think about you, my honey puppy. After 9 months waiting for, when I saw her, I cannot describe it. It's so much excited. And no word can explain it.
This the best country in the world. When I grow up, I see that the freedom and democracy, that's the most important for the human life, special life for us and for me.
I never really knew how the Vietnamese people thought about the servicemen and women who served in their country. I didn't know if they thought the Marines cut and ran on them. And that notion was very troubling to me because the Marines that I saw served honorably.
Well, we owe a lot to the American vets who were in Vietnam. They thought that we may have some, animosity against them. But in reality, no, not at all.
I lived with the Vietnamese. I slept with them, I ate with them, I fought with them, and I came to really respect and actually love the Vietnamese people and the culture.
50,000 soldiers get killed in my country. It's very painful, just like in my own family, my own relative. I cry and I really, really think American did help our country.
When I've seen the outpouring of genuine support, thanks for our service, you can't do anything but reciprocate that.
I think it's important that other U.S. veterans and ARVN veterans understand that relationship we've established with our ARVN allies is a very rich and one that's building.
I remember very well when someone, they come to my house and tell my mom, my father cannot make it. So, every freedom you have to pay with a price. When you don't have that, then you appreciate it. But you have that in your hand, you think that's easy? No. That's why, for me, I think we owe them something.
Reconnecting with these people over the years, it's nice to see them prosper here in our country. They ask for little, if not anything, and they contribute greatly to our society.
My mom, she say, why you don't open the restaurant? So since 1989 until now, this restaurant is the Little Saigon. It's, for us, we don't forget our old country.
It was here that I went back to school and continued my schooling, and I got my dental degree from Temple University in Philadelphia.
I came over here only $5. I did not know much English, so I told myself that I have to go to school. Just about a couple of weeks when I arrived, I registered to the ESL class right away for the spring semester. I got a degree and I started from the very bottom, and then now my title is Work Study Coordinator at the Community College of Philadelphia.
As Vietnamese American, we are thankful for the kindness of the American government and the American people who opened your arm and receive us and give us a chance.
When the community settled on the name for the monument, they called it the Vietnamese Heritage and Freedom Monument. And I think that was very wise, because what it allows us to do is to tell the story of Vietnam to future generations.
I think I underestimated the importance of this monument to us. I don't know of too many others that relate to the joint sacrifice of American and Vietnamese forces.
I always worship the yellow flag. It's a symbol for humanity and a symbol for freedom.
We fought together side by side. All the American Vietnam veterans, we all honor all of them. They are heroes to us.
When I left Vietnam, I lost everything. You know, I have no life, no future, and all that. So I hope that with this Vietnamese flag here, and the young people, young generation, understand what we go through to have that up there.
Many generations later, they will learn from there, and they appreciate it. Then they know what their grandfather or even their father, what they do for this country. But we have to remember, when you lost someone, then you will feel it. Have to think about the people who cannot come back. I tell my children, have to appreciate this country, because everything you have right now is from here. You have to give back to this country.